Hello everyone, and welcome to the video. Today we will start the much-anticipated series discussing Russian army uniforms, equipment, and weapons used in the First Chechen War. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. Starting off, we will first discuss the uniforms produced in VSR 93 or Barvika camouflage patterns. There were two main versions, the regular infantry version and the airborne version. The infantry version was basically an M88 Afganka produced in Barvika. The M88 featured a design similar to the American M81B-DU. The M88 had 4 spacious pockets on the chest and 1 on each arm. There was also a large cargo pocket on each leg. A winter version with a liner and faux fur collar was also produced. Both variants were well liked by the troops and continued to see service until the early 2000s. It is worth noting that regular khaki versions of the Afganka were used by some infantry units, though it was not as common. Winter versions could also be seen sporadically. VDV airborne units used a similar version of the Afganka in Barvika. The VDV version saw the lower front pockets on the jacket removed. An internal holster for the Makarov or even Tokarev pistol was added. The pants had the left pocket modified. The pocket had a sewn-in divider added, so too AK-style magazines could be inserted in there. Finding reference pictures are hard, but this is the only one I could find. In this picture, the VDV uniform is used by a Spetsnaz operator. Another variant of the Afganka, this time produced in the Bhutan/VSR 84 camouflage, was also used. This uniform was nearly identical to the regular VSR 93 infantry version. The VDV version, along with the winter version, was also made in Bhutan. Something to note is that there are a few versions of the Bhutan pattern, too many to go over in this video. Early versions of the Gorkha uniform were also used. This uniform was produced in a khaki color and featured a large hood and 2 pockets on the jacket. There are also 2 cargo pockets on the pants. Gorkha II was not used as frequently as Barvika or Bhutan. It did see some use by scouts and other recon elements within the VDV. I am not sure if Gorkha II was used by regular army infantry. Moving on, we have the KLMK masking suit. The KLMK suit was a camouflage oversuit designed in the 1960s to mask the appearance of Soviet troops from night vision devices. First produced in 1968, the KLMK was a single-piece suit made in white leaf berezka. It featured a hood and optional mask as well, which could be used to camouflage the user. The suit was designed to be worn over a soldier's uniform, but in warm climates like Afghanistan, many soldiers wore the suit on its own. The suit came in 3 sizes, which went by height. Since there were no options for chest and waist sizes, the suit was often quite baggy on its users. It was commonly used by VDV scouts in the First Chechen War. In the early stages of the war, the old Soviet M69 uniform could be seen in limited use. The M69 was made in a khaki color and featured 2 pockets on the shirt and 2 on the pants. It used a button-down design. It was replaced by the Afganka in the 1980s, but as mentioned before, saw some though very limited use by Russian soldiers in Chechnya. Next, we have the headwear used. Most soldiers and paratroopers wore the cap issued with their uniform, such as wearing a Bhutan cap with a Bhutan uniform. Sometimes, headwear could be mixed and matched with the uniforms. The standard cap for the Barvika uniform was produced in the same style as the M88 Afganka cap. It was the Soviet/Russian equivalent of Western patrol caps. This Afganka cap was produced in Barvika, as mentioned before, Bhutan, and in the regular khaki color. Many VDV scouts also used Soviet medical bandanas. These were simple pieces of cloth and were usually wrapped around the head. Another type of headwear used was the Ushanka or fur hat. These warm hats were typically worn underneath helmets. For belts, there are a few varieties. Soviet trouser belts as pictured were used by most soldiers. These were simple belts made in a khaki fabric with a metal buckle. Belts worn over the uniform varied. Some soldiers wore the Soviet-style faux leather belt with a Soviet buckle. The buckle was either a shiny gold or a gray color. Also used interchangeably were Soviet officer belts. These were of a higher quality than regular infantry belts. Officer belts were used by almost everyone and not restricted just to officers. Last but not least, we have the footwear used. First, there are the sapogi boots or jack boots. These boots first made their appearance in World War II. They were very tall and were worn not with a sock, but rather a special cloth wrapped carefully around the soldier's foot. Also used interchangeably were Marjalovsky or combat boots. These models saw much use in Afghanistan and later Chechnya. They were the first true modern combat boot used by Soviet and later Russian forces. Another type of footwear used were regular civilian sneakers. Brands like Moskva were frequently used by scouts for their lightweight and high level of comfort. That's all that I have for today's video. Please like and share this video, and subscribe to my channel as I would truly appreciate it. As always, please leave corrections in the comments below, and I will investigate them. Take care everyone, and stay tuned for part 2.